turn to the race for the White House. Republican candidates are now just 1 month away from their first debate in Milwaukee. Are you excited? This is a third indictment. This as a third indictment is looming over former President Donald Trump and the rest of the GOP field. Nikki Haley is certainly taking the opportunity to use Trump's possible third indictment against him this morning. Here she is.
You look at these indictments, there's probably going to be a fourth indictment. We can't have, as Republicans, him as the nominee. He can't win a general election. That's the problem. We've got to go and have someone who can actually win.
All right, back to our panel. Chris, you know I'm going to go to you over this one, right? Are we going to see a gentleman that is receiving the GOP nomination while facing a number of serious criminal charges?
Well, it's certainly possible, and the criminal charges help Donald Trump with base Republican voters who believe him that the system is rigged and it's a two-tiered and all of this stuff. It's proof of concept for his pitch, so it helps him, certainly. But the other thing that will happen over time is as you get to that first debate, and the first debate is a key way station that helps voters start to make up their minds to say, you know, this is a deeply flawed, deeply troubled person who tried to steal a second term. Do we want to carry that freight into the general election? Certainly, Nikki Haley thinks that that's an argument that will hove into view as Republicans get to the point where they're thinking about not what makes them feel emotionally good, but what's a more practical choice for the general election.
You know, Mark, as we head into that next debate, and there was some news today that DeSantis is rebranding himself. He's sort of going to go out on his own. You know, are we going to see him maybe come up a little bit stronger ahead of this debate?
I don't really think so. I think that it's failure to launch right now. And the fact that he is having to retool a month before, I mean, he had a lot of momentum right after his election. He rode that for many months, but then that momentum went away. And it's difficult to actually rebuild that and to recapture it. And what we're seeing is there's really only a couple of candidates who are now rising in the polls, and Ron DeSantis is not one of them.
And he won't get hurt with the indictment, with the possibility of an indictment. He won't.
In the Republican race, every time they indict him, Donald Trump gets stronger and stronger. But this general election's not coming down to the Trump indictments.
But with 4 trials coming up, Donald Trump's going to have to find time to be in the courtroom, at least on the criminal cases. He's got civil cases. He's going to have to find time to campaign and to debate his colleagues, which is why I don't think he's going to do it. But more importantly, the millions and millions of dollars of these campaign contributions are going into the lawyers' pockets who are defending him in civil and criminal cases, and that's going to wear down his political coffers as well.
Well, but many of his supporters believe he is the epitomization of weaponization of government, and that Donald Trump is the only thing standing between a weaponized government and coming after them. So they will continue donating for that.
I think when you look at recent polling that shows that Republicans believe, and we looked at new polling for Fox Business that came out over the weekend, and Republicans in both South Carolina and Iowa said Trump was way ahead in both states, and that he was also way ahead in the metric of who would be best to face Joe Biden. And I think that goes exactly to what you're saying. The core about Trump's hustle is he says the system is rigged, and so therefore you have to condone my outrageous behavior. You have to condone the bad things that I do because the system is so bad, is so corrupt that only I can do it. Dave Chappelle talked about it, I think, very convincingly one time on Saturday Night Live. But the idea is that a guy walks out of a rigged game, says, I know the game is rigged, and I'm the only one who can go in and do it. And for a lot of Republican voters who are so angry at the government, are so paranoid is too strong a word, but who are deeply held belief that there's a conspiracy arrayed against them, Donald Trump keeps them captive in that way.
But he's got 2 federal indictments and 2 state indictments, and they can't all be wrong. That can't all be weaponization, can it be?
Well, the Democrats...
At some point, now hold on, at some point, the Republican, the GOP is going to have to figure out how they get to the White House in 2024, and it's not through Donald Trump, because he may be incarcerated or may be sitting in federal court defending himself. And his personal liberty, when you talk about politics and raising money and how he goes up in the polls, Donald Trump is thinking about his personal liberty.
I will just say that's a big gamble that Democrats are taking in plumping for Trump and wishing for Trump, that they'll be able to dispatch him in the next general election. If they miss, right, and there will be serious consequences.
Where's he going to get his votes on the independent side?
Oh, very easily.
They're not enough.
I'll let you answer
70% are
this,
against
and I have one more topic to get to, but you first. You first.
In the general election, it's going to be Trump is a criminal, Biden and his family are criminals. Who's going to lower my gas prices? Who's going to deal with inflation?
I'll get my popcorn ready.
It gets
Sounds fun. Sounds fun.
Julia, before we move on, I want to get this one question in because I had this headline in my head. Speaker McCarthy is in a rock and a hard place. Not the first time we've seen it, but we are seeing it now, and it has to do with the fact that some of his really far right, want to see that word impeachment gone.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, this is something that he's been facing pressure to do. I think it's something that plays well with the base. In terms of whether he does it, we'll have to see. But it's something he's obviously facing pressure.
Yeah, and we've seen that headline before, and we're just happy to see it again. So thank you so much. We're going to move on to our next topic so we can fit it all in.
Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.